It's going to be about David, the singer, right? Very bizarre, very interesting type of. I've never seen nothing like this, right? Where they got a girl's body was dismembered and found in the trunk of a car, and they don't know, they can't return an indictment, and the district attorney won't charge because obviously they don't have enough evidence, and the LAPD is just trying to bulldoze their way a case, go and arrest them, and say, well, we're gonna make a scene. We think he did it, even though we are not in position to charge or to make that type of assessment. We're gonna make sure you look at it again, because we don't want you guys to forget that this guy we think did it is still alive. So I've never seen nothing like this. Usually, because LABT and district attorney, they're pretty much on board, right? They pretty much never go against each other. They never. The LAPD usually comply with the district attorney's wishes, and vice versa, right? And usually the grand jury comes back with with sufficient evidence. Well, let's see.
If you're following the case of David, you need to hear this brand new information because it makes a lot of things more clear. So someone close to David posted this. It's a little long, but trust me, it's worth listening to. They said, so I have a friend who was friends with David and I was around David because of him. Heads up, it's a long read. My friend and I found out about the car September 8th and my friend contacted David after and he just responded with, I can't say anything about that because I don't know what's going on. My car was stolen and I'm talking to the police. That was the last thing David said. As things started to come out online and the ID of the victim, we realized that the body that was found was his GF Celeste, the 19-year-old we met a few times after his shows, kickbacks, parties. One thing I can talk about that I'm 100% sure is that there was two Celestes because I've met them both and I've spoken to them both. One thing about that looking back that I find weird is that when they were both in the same room, the older one called herself Cece. If one was there and the other one wasn't, she would call herself Celeste. I wasn't too close to David, but my friend was. He was always invited to the events or kickbacks at his place or his shows at hotels and he would bring me with him. He was always surrounded by streamers and TikTokers, Mark's Fat and this guy Ben. Now when we would stream with other people at his place, he would pull Celeste the minor to the side and tell her he was going to stream and she can watch him in the room so the girl would go hide out. I specifically remember this because this happened during a tattoo party he threw and there was a If you're following the case of David, you need to hear this brand new information because it makes a lot of things.
And this is such a bizarre case. This is such, I've never seen nothing like this. And these cases, this case has got a lot of attention because she, I guess, 14 years old, and a lot of speculation surrounding the things that went on. But it's obviously, if the district attorney and the grand jury cannot come back with an indictment or charge, that means because they absolutely have nothing. If they had a shred, or either that or let's take this trip. Walk with me. Could this be an elite? Somebody making phone calls, somebody from way at the top manipulating, pulling strings. Because maybe this was a ritual. This was part of a ritual. Because let's think about this, right? Here we got, what's up, King Swick? She probably has some dirty on him. Probably an argument that led to something worse. Well, King Swick, here's the thing, right? This is, let's take this walk, right? We got a guy here, right? Who's a singer, he went viral. You know what I mean? He's a pop artist, whatever. He has this young girl running around his house, whatever, right? Boom, she disappears. And she's taken somewhere, and obviously she's been deleted. They then, whatever they do, then they cut her body up and put it in a trunk, right? This is, and maybe maybe we can investigate this together. Maybe y'all can help me figure this out. Typically, when somebody goes to the trouble of deleting someone and dismembering their body, typically, if they take them to a trunk, they finish the job. They take them, put them in a trunk and take them out, bury them somewhere or burn the body. But the only part that is, to me, kind of weird, you go through all that trouble to dismember a body, then leave it in a trunk in a car, you know eventually it's going to be found because of smell, right? She was in that trunk for forever, however long, right? Now, they got the car, they towed the car to the yard, and as the car was sitting there, the smell, it started reeking, of course, and they came out and they found the body. Now, this to me smells Illuminati-ish. It smells something because, once again, people who dismember bodies, they finish the job. They finish the job. They don't go put them in the trunk and leave them there. They don't do that. Only way somebody's going to dismember a body and leave it in the trunk for it to be found, if somebody else needed confirmation that this ritual was executed. Now, the guy, David, his name, I guess him and the girls connected. And, you know, I guess that was his car as well, who her body was found in. So, you know, everybody's running to a conclusion. You know how America is. Everybody plays cops right off the top. Oh, he did it. He did it. He did it. He did it. Guilty, 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 guilty. But they got, you know, the body. They found the body. They got witnesses. They, I guess, subpoenaed over 5 or 6 witnesses and could not turn back an indictment, or the district attorney couldn't even charge David in this crime. So that just tells me that they don't have enough to even get it bound over in preliminary or to take it to trial. They, you know, this attorney would love it. This is they're all over this shit. They don't give a fuck about him. If they had the evidence, they will take his ass down. Right? 14-year-old girl. No problem. They don't give a fuck about him. But I'm thinking this was a ritual. And maybe the people at the top are pulling some strings of some sort. Let's listen to a lawyer. I got a tape with a lawyer talking. Let's look at the lawyer. Let's look at the lawyer. Let me see. Go here. The lawyer gives us an insight. But the question I have before I go into this video, why whoever dismembered the body, why didn't they finish the job? Why did they not take the body out, bury it, to never be found? Right? And Kingfish said probably an argument. Yeah, but an argument? I mean, it'd have been witnesses. And most people who have argument and do something like that, they leave a lot of evidence. You know, they leave, you know, usually those are domestic violence and whatever. But here's the thing. Why would David not finish the job? Why would he leave the body in his car? Why would he put the body in his car and just leave it there? Hey, Kingfish, help me out. Why would this guy, let's just hypothetically play your game, Kingfish. Why would a guy like him delete a chick, right? And then just leave the body in his car, which is in his name? That's almost like, right? Who does that? Why would he not take the body and bury it somewhere? Right? Why would he? Right? Because this obviously, and it'd be an easy case for them to prove. Nobody's gonna do nothing stupid like that. If you're gonna go to the trouble of dismembering, you know how much work that takes? You know how much work that takes? Arm, leg, feet. That takes some time. Nigga, you need the right tools to do that shit. You just can't get no butter knife. And you go through all that trouble, you're going to finish the job. You're going to go dump that shit in Arizona desert, the Mojave Desert, needles at 3 or 4 in the morning. Then probably put it in a thing and bury that motherfucker. They're gonna dispose of the body. They're not gonna keep it in the car, especially not my car with my name on it. Let's go. I don't think he's that stupid, King's Picks. I just don't think he's that stupid. Nobody's that stupid because then why go through the trouble of dismembering the body? Fuck it, just leave it in the house. Shit. You're gonna leave it in your car, you might as well leave it in your house. You're going to jail either way. And why can't they bring back your case? Let's see what happened.
I think there's in the prosecution's case against David the singer. Let me explain. The grand jury has been hearing this case for 5 months, since November. Beth Silverman, the DA, has been presenting witness after witness after witness to this grand jury to get a grand jury indictment. We know that there has been a dogfight between the DA's office and the medical examiner over cause of death that we are told and have been told for a long time after Celeste Rivas's body was found that they were having a very difficult time establishing cause of death. And that is an issue here. But then the question, if Beth Silverman was before that grand jury for 5 months with the end goal of getting an indictment for murder, why did the police arrest David yesterday and then say they're going to present the case to the DA on Monday so that the DA can determine whether to file formal charges or not? That makes absolutely no sense, because it was the grand jury that was supposed to indict here and not the DA just charging him. If the DA wanted to charge, what was the point of a grand jury? So what happened at the grand jury so that they either didn't indict him, that she never asked the grand jury to actually indict, or did the grand jury issue a no bill, which means they rejected the case? I don't think they would have rejected the case outright, although I don't know. But the only other option is that Beth Silverman never asked for a formal indictment after presenting evidence for 5 months before the grand jury. So and the police say, we're going to present the case to the DA. The DA's had the case for 5 months. What do you mean present the case? That makes no sense when you listen to what the police are saying. The DA has had this case. They're the ones that made the decision to go to the grand jury. So why is the DA doing this and deciding apparently to file charges rather than to get an indictment? So there could be, the one that comes to mind is that a grand jury indictment gets very specific as to why they're indicting. And it may be based on the evidence that was presented that the DA is concerned that based on the way the grand jury would indict, it would leave a wide door open for the defense to come in and say, this is a deficient indictment in terms of proving the elements of murder, and the worry might be that a judge might dismiss the indictment. And I can't really think of another good reason, other than if the grand jury rejected the case, for the DA to spend all that time before the grand jury and then to say, okay, now we'll just charge him. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And, yesterday felt like a show. You know, there's a lot of behind the scenes here, but when you look at, you know, the way this went down with the police, this felt like a statement more than just an arrest. So there is something going on here that is really interesting, and I don't know what it is. But again, it would seem like if the case is that compelling and they spent 5 months before the grand jury, why didn't the grand jury issue an indictment? So one of the things that is going to come up here, and I know this, is cause of death. And we know that the defense is saying he did not kill her, and that they are going to fight that. Cause of death is going to be really important. We know, based on contacts with people connected to the medical examiner, that they had a tremendously difficult time with this case, that it was very difficult for them to establish cause of death. Frankly, we do not know to this day whether they have actually determined, you know, is it accidental? Is it homicide? We don't know what they've said. And I think the DA at this point must know. But there was a real fight going on, you know, between authorities over this. And even if they determine cause of death is homicide, everything, and I don't know that they did, but everything leading up to it that we were told is that they may never be able to determine cause of death because of the state of the body at the time they got it. And that does not bode great for the prosecution, because they have to prove murder. They have to prove homicide beyond a reasonable doubt. And if the medical examiner has an issue with how Celeste Rivas died, that's a problem for prosecutors. So, look, I don't know what David did or didn't do. My sense, based on everything we've been hearing, is he knows something, I believe, about why her body ended up in that trunk. Based on everything we're hearing, I think he knows something about that. But that doesn't mean that they have proof that he killed her. And there could be many scenarios as to how that happens. It's the DA's responsibility to prove the scenario that he murdered her. And I am telling you that when you look at this, you know, I've been talking to very seasoned criminal defense lawyers, and they are baffled by this, that why they would arrest him this way, and then say that they're going to present it to the DA, where the DA already has it and is going to charge him when they were pursuing an indictment for all these months. There's something odd here that has not come out, to be continued.
So we have,
You're not going to give up names, but are you telling me?
so what we have here is a rambunctious case, right? And what I mean by that is they have pieces that don't connect. And I guess they're trying to figure this out, right? The district attorney, they're going to the grand jury with all the things they have, and the grand jury cannot return an indictment back. So the district attorney knows if the grand jury is not returning an indictment back, most likely they don't have enough to charge as well. So this is once again, this is a very strange case. Very odd. I never seen nothing like this. This is the first of this kind where somebody deletes this young girl, and after they delete her, they take their time and dismember her body and put her in a trunk and leave her in a trunk. Why not take the body and bury it somewhere? Why leave it in the trunk of a car? Then take the car and then park it somewhere. Now, the question I have for David is, why your car? Why would somebody put this in your car? I have that question. Then did you file a missing person report, David, after she was gone so long? Like, hey, my friend, she's gone. I haven't seen her in a while. So those are the questions I have, which, because this kind of makes you look like you're guilty, maybe, or you had knowledge, which is accessory, which is still a crime. So we're going to listen to these two TMZ guys break it down for us. But right now, I just think this is Illuminati. I think it was a ritual. This is what I think. I'm going to give y'all just a walk with me, be patient with me. I'm just doing a little speculating to have some fun here because I want to figure this shit out. I believe this was a ritual of some sort, right? They, maybe the elites, somebody, maybe this is sacrifice for his fame, right? Right. This was part of, they said, look, she'll do, because she was young, youthful. So they probably have some sort of ritual in place. This goes back to the Epstein files, right? So maybe this was some high shit, and they went in and did what they did. And then after they did whatever they did with her body, they dismembered it, put it, and was instructed to put it in this particular car. I think why the car and why leave it in the car? For confirmation, right? And I believe that maybe somebody's pulling some strings with this grand jury and the district attorney's office. And the LAPD is trying to get this shit done because there's a lot of pressure on them. The families are calling every day, what's going on? And they feel that he did it, and the district attorney may feel that way, but maybe they're paid off. Hollywood is very powerful, man. And they do a lot of sacrificing these people. And if they like the guy because he did what he was told, they might have him a way out. That's why it seemed like no indictment or no charge has come down. But LAPD is trying to force the hand. So let's see what these guys have to say. Let's go into it more.
The DA was not ready to file charges, and the LAPD said, screw you, we're gonna just arrest him.
That's exactly what I'm hearing.
That's crazy. Welcome to the Two Angry Men podcast, Mark. We knew this day was coming where David would be arrested for what authorities say is the murder of Celeste Rivas. But there are bizarre things going on in this case. And I've been dying to talk to you about this because I have never seen anything like it. The LAPD arrests him on Thursday night and then says, we are going to present the case to the DA on Monday. The DA has had this case for 5 months. So the DA is what? Presenting it to itself? They've already had the case. They could, and if they decided not to go for a grand jury indictment, they could have charged him and then immediately arrested him. But so far, he's not been charged. He's been arrested. They're presenting it to the agency that's had the case. What is going on?
First of all, I'm going to bet, and we didn't talk last night. We texted a little bit,
Right.
But I'm going to bet the first thing you thought is, like I know, that if there's an arrest on Thursday, that usually means a Thursday indictment. So I'm going to bet that you probably had the same reaction I did,
Yeah.
which was it's a grand jury indictment.
It was a grand jury indictment.
Then when you find out it's not a grand jury indictment, you say, oh, the DA must have filed a complaint, meaning they just filed the charges, and instead the probable cause hearing is going to be a preliminary hearing. Well, you go onto the sheriff's website, and guess what? There is no case that with a case number. He's just being held, and key fact, he's being held at the 77th Street station, which is an LAPD substation, which means LAPD arrested him, is keeping him at a substation, did not take him to the county jail and have him processed by the sheriff, which speaks volumes here. You want to know what I'm hearing?
Yes, and then I need an answer to why they're doing this. But yeah, what are you hearing?
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, first of all, as we have talked about, the LAPD was at odds with the medical examiner's office.
By the way, if I can interrupt on that, we have been told by a high-level source in LAPD that the medical examiner did find that this was a homicide, that they've ultimately concluded it was a homicide, because for a long time they were uncertain they would ever be able to say what caused her death or what the manner was.
And your source, you're just where I was getting.
Yeah.
Your source is absolutely right, because in the timeline, the LAPD and the medical examiner were at odds. The medical examiner was not saying that. Just recently, the medical examiner has apparently revived or has come up with or has come to the conclusion to a medical certainty that it's a homicide. Guess what happened then? Have you heard what happened then? LAPD then tried to get the DA's office to then file. DA's office apparently wouldn't file. So LAPD said, oh, okay, you're not going to file? We're going to go arrest David. We're going to go arrest him on a Thursday afternoon. You know why that's significant? Because in LA, we have this quirk, even though I believe it's unconstitutional and does not comport with the San Bernardino case, where if they arrest you late on a Thursday afternoon, you don't get in front of a judge until Monday morning. And that's constitutionally.
You got to stop for a second. Back this up. Are you telling me that you're hearing that the DA was not ready to file charges and the LAPD said, screw you, we're going to just arrest him when the DA wasn't ready to file charges? Is that what you're saying?
There is exactly what is happening right now, which is why there is no complaint, why the DA says it's been presented to us, which you outlined, is talk about performative arts or theatrics.
I am
Who
shocked.
was leading? What office went to?
And this is, LAPD, this is what they do all the time. But this is an infringement on the constitutional right. You don't have a complaint. This case has been in a district attorney's hands for 5 months. It's been to district attorney, to a grand jury. It's been investigated. It's out of LAPD's hands. They did their job at the beginning by asking the right questions, and then once the police, when they do their job, they do their job in the beginning, right? By getting all the witnesses, get the body to where it's supposed to go, calling up the owner of the car and the people who are tied to this, and then they hand it over to the district attorney. Then the district attorney then formally charges, or they head to a grand jury so that the grand jury could bring back an indictment. And typically that's the process. But because, and only really, and the district attorney really don't have to go to the grand jury. So by them telling me they're going to the grand jury, is they just didn't have enough. They could not get approved by the head district attorney. So you got in the district attorney office, you got the head district attorney, right? Who's the manager or the boss, whatever. Then you got a whole bunch of district attorneys. Now they have to, talk to all the witnesses, put all the evidence together. They try to put together a case, and they don't really have to go to the grand jury. If they have enough evidence to convict or go to trial, they can just charge, make it on their own. They can say, hey, we're charging David, whatever, for the charge, boom. And they can stick the LAPD on and go and arrest him. But if they go to the indictment, when they go to the grand jury, that means they don't have or could not come in with a unified enough evidence to convict this guy, right? So they went to the grand jury. The grand jury then again did not bring back an indictment as well. So therefore, that means they don't have enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this guy is the actual leader. They just don't have enough, right? And LAPD right now, out of frustration, is moving in a manner where they feel like, oh, well, we just want to harass this guy, is not making anything better. It's not making it better, right? Because this case needs to be tried in a court of law. He has lawyers, the prosecution need to get their stuff together, and this needs to be tried. Welcome to the show. Hit the like button on your way in the door. Thank you. So let's go back here what my guys got to say.
Judge Richmond and got the order, the DA's office, they on behalf of LAPD. What office went in front of the grand jury and hassled witnesses?
The DA.
The DA's office. What office dragged the Neo from out of state to LA to put him in front of a grand jury? The DA's office.
But wait a minute.
Give me another.
But
there's only one other explanation if you want me to speculate, but let's go down here.
Oh, no, hold on. Before you speculate, are you saying you know, because that's what I'm hearing, that the DA was not ready to file charges, the LAPD got frustrated and said, we're just going to arrest him. You got 4 days to file. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm hearing.
I don't understand. But Mark, if they're not, if the DA is not ready to file charges and 4 days run out, then David walks free and LAPD has egg on its face.
No, LAPD is then going to point the finger at the DA's office.
The DA's office is going to say, we're not ready. Are you?
Yes. And that I'm telling you, that's what's happening. There's only one other explanation that makes any sense whatsoever. And the DA may embrace this if they decide this is too hot for them to just reject. And what the DA would say is on Monday that we've now looked at it, we're now going to file.
So once again, I think this was some sort of ritual. I think this is part of some ritual. I mean, once again, who would go to the right and to hide all these guys do not, they have the car, they have the body, but they don't have obviously no witnesses, at least to corroborate any sort of background to make a case. So somebody, maybe they're scared to talk because it may be dire consequences on their lives. I think this is being managed by the elites in Hollywood. That's what I think. Let's go. Let me go look. Let's get some more information. Let's go look around. Because I've never seen a case like this. Never. Nobody's going to dismember a body and then put it in the trunk of the car and then leave it there. Maybe to put it there to transport, right? Maybe to transport. But to just leave it there for days and weeks and knowing that the body is going to be found, I don't think David would, be that stupid to put the body in his own car. Man, come on, man. Really? Really? You think he's that stupid? Y'all really think he's that stupid? You know what I mean? Could he be that stupid to go and put the car in his body? I mean, put the body in his car? I don't know. I think, like I said, I believe this is bigger than just one guy. I think it's multiple people involved. I think we have here, probably some Illuminati. Right? Some Illuminati-ish. Let's find out. Let's find out. I got another. Let's go into this thing. Let's get into this. I feel like being an investigator right now. Because this is just such a fishy.
When we heard back in September that her body was found in his car, a lot of people were thinking, well, he would be arrested then. Why is he being arrested now so much later?
I think there's a few key reasons. One, of course, is the state that they found her body. Now, the medical examiner has to show that there was a homicide here, the cause of death, because of how decomposed she was. That may have taken some time. If they want to charge him with murder versus just disposing of a body, let's say, that probably took a while. Also, his fame. There was a similar case, a murder charge against a rapper out of Florida, if you remember YNW Melly. In that case, the prosecutor said that his cell phone was at the location of the murder. But he said, well, this is a community phone. You can't, everybody in my entourage, let's say, uses this phone. You can't pin this on me. The prosecutors are well aware of this. A lot of people in his entourage may very well have also used that car. Being registered to him may not have been enough because of his fame.
And so you're saying that could be a big part of his defense, right? That, look, everybody used this car. It wasn't me.
Exactly. And so that's why they most likely convened this grand jury.
When we heard back in September that her body was found in his car.
So I guess that's his defensive argument, saying that multiple people had access to that car. Multiple people had access to his phone, which is, in that life, I can see it. So for them to go in and try to figure this out, it's going to take a lot, man. Just get an indictment. If they haven't got an indictment in 5 months, that tells me that either somebody made a phone call or...
We have some new information coming out.
Because we clearly see in this picture right here, right? He's repping the Illuminati. He's repping the Illuminati. See the all-seeing eye? See his fingers? So, once again, I think this is a ritual. I think this is what goes on in Hollywood, right? These elites, they send their handlers. The handler comes down, tell them, hey, they want the little girl. They want her blood or something. What weird shit. Probably took her to some wherever, did something ritually wise. And they wanted confirmation when it's done. And how they get the confirmation? They want the body to be discovered. See, this all ties in with the Epstein files, right? That these people up here sick. These people up here do these things like it's nothing for them. They sacrifice kids all day long. And because what's making me wonder is she was gone for a very long time, right? The parents, she has parents. They didn't put a missing people report. They didn't say, hey, where's my daughter? Hey, we haven't seen her. She hasn't checked in. And David didn't put in a missing person report. He just reported his car stolen. That's it. Nobody's like, hey, my little friend's been gone. We haven't seen her. Nobody did that. So she was in that car for the body to, let me see, how long did it take for a body to decompose? Let's look on Google. How long does it take for a body to decompose?
Decomposition begins shortly after death.
So it takes 1 year to 10 years for the body to 1 to 10 years for the body to completely decompose. So she had been missing for a year, and nobody put I don't remember seeing her face up on missing persons. Have you seen this girl? Nothing. She just completely disappeared. And next day they find her, she's in the trunk of a car. And not only is she in the trunk, she's dismembered. And I don't think David is that stupid. I don't think nobody's that stupid to leave a dismembered body in the car in their name, registration. Nigga, you might as well just left it in front of the police station. You had it better off. So after listening to this thing, let's see what happened. Let's see what this video is talking about.
About Celeste Rivas Hernandez and David, because now David's former best friend Neo has taken to his social media to call him out. And this comes as this whole entire case has heated up, and we know that David is the target in the investigation into what happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez. It seems like after Neo was arrested for failing to appear as a grand jury witness, now he is trying to distance himself from David. Yesterday, Neo said, "I think the worst part is that I've told so many people that I trust and I thought knew me as a person, my side of things. All for that to be thrown out the effing window as soon as I get arrested and they slap that D-head's name next to mine." For the record, the thing I was arrested for wasn't even charged. They never filed it. And my warrant was retracted because there is more to the story than what's on the news. Thankfully, I'm legally fine in every way, and boy, do I got all my receipts for things. Ha 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 ha. And then he drops none of these receipts that he's talking about. TMZ's Harvey Levin actually reported last night that he knows basically for a fact that David was caught off guard with this information. He said he couldn't go into further detail about how he knows this, but he said that David definitely didn't expect this. We know the private investigator Steve Fisher has been investigating what happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and one person that he keeps calling out is Neo. This private investigator said that he has videos of the last person that parked David's Tesla before David and this person would leave to go on tour. And at one point, he even called out Neo directly and said, "Were you the last person, Neo, that parked David's Tesla?" And Steve Fisher called out Neo once again last night after Neo posted all of this, and he said, "Neo, you wouldn't even have your side of the story if you weren't involved in things." Going on to say, "You just want people to believe that you're less involved in all of the things." Honestly, this switch up that Neo's doing kind of surprised me a little bit, and to me, in my opinion, it almost feels like maybe he took a deal to say something about David. TMZ is also reporting that they heard it is very likely for an indictment to be handed down very soon. At this point, I really hope this is the case because I feel like this investigation has been going on for months and months now, and Celeste Rivas Hernandez deserves justice. But y'all, let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. We have some new information coming.
I think it's Illuminati. Look at him. Look at him representing. Neo, talking about he was subpoenaed by the district attorney's office, by the grand jury. So I'm just want to know, like, what the fuck? Now, let's break this down. We have a 14-year-old girl. She was 13 at the time, turned 14. Running around this dude's house. Maybe she was a fan junkie, what they call them. And he just kind of like let her hang around. I think he's gay. He's taking pictures with this guy. He's looking like his fingernails are painted. He's repping Illuminati, so I think he's gay. And all of a sudden, this young girl comes up missing. Now, do I believe David had knowledge that something was going down with this chick? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I believe, once again, this is a handler came in and let him know that this chick is going to be taken for some sort of ritual. That's what I believe happened. And now we're in a situation where the body was discovered and all eyes are on David. All eyes are on him. And once again, can they prove it depends on how they prosecute this, right? If they go after him, they might lose because they don't have the pieces to put the puzzle together. The only way they can have a decent or successful prosecution, in my opinion, if they have to take it as a conspiracy. This has involved more than one person. This is where, I think they would have a greater success, but they have to take their time. They can't indict right now. They can't charge right now. They got to sit tight and wait for somebody to break and give them the information. LAPD, in my opinion, is messing up the case because why are you doing this? You just gotta have patience in every case ain't gonna be cracked in 48 hours or even some take 2 or 3 years. Some take 5. Some cases don't get cracked till 5 years. Some cases take 10 years. So, when you're dealing with these type of cases where you got a dismembered body in a Tesla and, LAPD, local police, they're more of the muscle, right? They're not really thinkers, right? They don't know how to use their brain to try to figure shit out. So they're just trying to guerrilla some shit. But that's not how you win a case. That's not how you put a case together. And this is why the LAPD they're crooked, they're corrupted, and they prove they're corrupted. Right? This is how they're completely corrupted. Let's go. Let's see another video. Because I just think, let me see. No,
I'm not gonna lie, this is about to be like the OG Diddy trial, so tap in because we have more information coming out about the David case. TMZ is now reporting that the medical examiner was able to get a cause of death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and it is.
Okay, we saw that one already. Let's go.
There's been a major update in the case of David and Celeste as David just released a song. I mean, you're gonna want to hear this. Just yesterday, thousands of people got a BandLab notification that David released a new song titled Rush, but minutes later, it vanished. The song was apparently created on October 2nd, and some people think it was released on accident, and others think it was on purpose. Here are the lyrics. Thought we were taking it slow, but you don't want to wait on me. Many people were speculating that this was about Celeste wanting to talk to other guys and David being jealous, or it was about her not wanting to wait until she was of age. He then says, say you love me, then you say goodbye. Had a feeling you would leave my side. I still think about you day and night. The simple things always made me cry. Do I miss you? I can't decide. If I have issues, then I'm alright. If you love me, then please don't lie. Baby, you're supposed to be mine. If something changed, can I at least know why? Cause I don't ever want to waste your time. The chorus repeats, then he says, you get mad it didn't go your way, and you don't listen to a thing I say. The way I feel is written on my face, cause you want somebody to take my place. And if there's been a major update in the case of David and Celeste as David just
So, that doesn't really help. He had a song called Homicide, right? So I think so David is dark. He's very dark. So, this witchcraft, these devil worshippers. This is one of the fastest growing religions in America. And Illuminati's at the center of this. So I can see, but I don't think he orchestrated this because once again, I don't think he would go to trouble dismembering a body and putting a damn body in his car. That's stupid. I'm gonna dismember a body. I'm taking that shit to the desert. I'm taking that shit to the mountains. Nigga, I'm not leaving it in my car with my name on it. On my registration, nigga. Shit, I might as well just carry the body and sit in front of the police station, nigga. Hey, how y'all doing, officer? What's that? A dead body. Yeah, I'm just chilling. You might as well do that than put in the fucking car. So I believe this is a ritual. It's a ritual, 100%. And somebody at the top is pulling strings. They're like, hey, leave this guy alone. LAPD hasn't got the memo, right? They're trying to guerrilla some shit. Fuck it, we're just going to grade his home. We're going to make it seem like they came at him like he was a fucking Nino Brown or something. Nigga, that nigga is a singer. Little ass nigga probably weigh what, 145, soaking wet? No, and he has no violent history, nothing. And he's not no gang, nothing. And you pull up at the battle ram, man. The LAPD, they fucked up for that. But this is what happens and this is what happens in America. Americans are very, very known for jumping to conclusions before hearing all the facts, before hearing the whole case. And that, to me, is just a product of the environment. Americans say, hey, if it's his car, he did it. They don't care about the other fact. They don't care if somebody's lying or somebody else did it. They don't care about that. If it was his car, who else could have did it? Could somebody else use the car and did it? Well, we don't care. It was his car. He did it. So you mean to tell me you know more than a district attorney? You know more than a grand jury? And matter of fact, I don't like how Americans have so much trust in this justice system. Like they don't be, OJ 101 and motherfuckers planting evidence. See, that's what the LAPD really want to do. They want to plant evidence, but they messed up with the OJ case, so they can't really do that no more in these type of high profile cases because OJ really fucked them with Mark Furman and all them guys planting evidence and putting blood stained animal blood on shit. There's a lot of they're still being watched for that to this day. So, LAPD has fucked up their reputation for prosecuting cases legitimately. Right? They're corrupted. So once again, man, I don't know if David did it. I'm going to leave it open. I think it's an Illuminati ritual. Do David have knowledge of some sort? Did he have knowledge that this was going down? I believe so. And I'm just speculating, but I believe so. I believe his handler told him. And it was part of Illuminati ritual. Said, don't worry, we'll deal with the district attorney and the grand jury. And somebody got his back because this is an easy railroad case. This is an easy railroad case, right? Well, fuck it. We just make up some shit. We'll put a storyline together, right? This could be, some people who got what they wanted. And once the body is found, they got that confirmation. And now they're going to make sure this guy won't be prosecuted. That's what I'm thinking. Because ain't no way. Typically, the district attorney could have they could have badgered witnesses. They could have made witnesses turn against him. If you don't tell us, we'll give you life sentences. Right? They could have just guerrillaed people and made people lie on this dude and made it all make a case out of nothing. Right? They don't give a fuck. They tell the motherfucker, look, if you don't tell us, we know you were there. We know you have some knowledge. If you don't tell us, we're going after you. We're going to give you 3 life sentences. Tell us. Okay, he did it. So this tells me this is some powerful people that are intervening on the behalf of David because they like him, right? He's dark. He made a song called Homicidal Romance or some shit. So, while I'm in the stream, thank you for coming. Till next time.